Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Resident Alien Season 4, Episode 6. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, so first and foremost, we're picking up where last episode left off. I assumed it was the Greys that took Harry, but it ends up being this, Galactic Council, who's basically charging him for releasing the mantis, stealing a human baby. There were some other charges. Oh, staying on Earth after the Greys told him not to. Which those other charges, we don't know if he's still getting charged with those, because killing the mantis is kind of. I think that might be retroactively kind of get rid of some of what might be considered the lesser charges, because a big charge is stealing a baby. Because I think for the first time, maybe we knew this last season, but I don't remember it ever being discussed, because it feels like because they're all learning it the first time themselves. So we finally found out what the Greys are doing with babies. They are taking babies because they're trying to use baby souls as almost like a fountain of youth, but more so in the form of skin cream. And this is going to be the wildest reference, because I don't know, I doubt this is a thing in the comic, but I'm about to talk about Preacher. Spoilers, kind of. Basically, what was it? Basically, vampire foreskin, Cassidy specifically foreskin, was used repeatedly to make a skin cream. There was a joke about using baby foreskin as a cream or whatever in the beginning of season 2, if I remember correctly. So it's not the same, but it kind of it's not. It just feels so effed up to say that's not too far off. Just funny considering at the end of the episode, Harry points to his chest, being like, "Oh, this is where my soul is," and the guy's like, "Your penis?" He let the record show the defendant is pointing to his penis. It's like, no, the penis is down here, but this is my heart. Let the record show that the defendant is saying that his penis is in his heart or something like that. So there is a weird correlation and connection you can kind of make. But either way, I went on my tangent. But yeah, they're after baby souls for that very reason, because baby souls are so innocent and pure, and it makes the best cream. I guess, once again, an older enough human has been corrupted enough by life and stuff. So. And basically, Harry kept getting shocked over and over and over again. And because of that, he ends up telling them exactly where the baby is. So it's like, cool, you screwed up on that front, Harry. But then we have the situation of they have his alien energy because the Greys didn't file the right paperwork to be able to do something like that. So it's been taken by the council. And now it's like, hey, we will give you this energy back, but only after you have to basically kill the mantis and bring it before us. Which he's like, hey, I can do that because the mantis is already dead. Luckily, my baby mama Heather already took care of that, so I just have to go back. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring a dead mantis in front of you. I'm gonna get the job done. And then him and Asta go investigate, and we find out just at the same time Max and Sahar are talking about it, which I was kind of wondering, I was like, somebody's gonna stumble across that mantis body, right? Somebody has to, or something. But I didn't know how that story, but no, the mantis still alive. Basically, it shed its skin, and it's like, cool. You probably have to completely dismember that thing, I guess. I don't know how you go about permanently killing it. Harry would probably need his alien energy back to even stand a chance. Because basically that was also another thing being levied against him, because the mantis being free, it's going to massively reproduce and then take over the planet, and that's also plays into the Greys issue, because humans are the only beings, I guess, just in the universe in general that have souls. So that's why the Greys have specifically chosen humans and all that stuff. So. But then Asta finds out, wait, they know where the baby is, but, it's like, that's the priority, even though Harry's like, oh, that's such trivial things. What about, a brave warder getting his energy back and, killing a great mantis? But either way, they go to the rest to pick up the baby, and during this time, a powwow is happening, and it has a very beautiful effect on Harry. Because I think, especially in a season where he feels the most lost, he's been feeling like something's missing, and I thought it was just beautiful, where the baby's crying, he's kind of oh, this is so, but then he starts feeling connected to the baby just like he did Bridget, and they're making their way to the powwow and they're listening because it's a specific, was it the I believe it was Jingle Dress dance is happening, and it resonates with both the baby and Harry. And an old woman, goes like, "Oh, what are you feeling?" He's like, "I think I'm feeling something." She's like, "If you're thinking, you're not feeling." It's like the jingles are supposed to be. It's like it's about Nanama, which means together. It's like the jingle is supposed to represent like we're all part of something greater, a small piece that we all have our place in the universe. We're all connected to everything. And it's just it's like that why rivers kind of flow from like the same spot, or how magically a res dog will pop up when you open a bag of chips. I love that line in particular. But for Harry, he just feels like he's feeling something. He's feeling what he thought was missing the entire time. And I do love that situation over and over again, where that lady would just keep hitting him. And I love that he was like, "Yes, that woman would hit me. She's so violent." But yeah, this moment was so profound for Harry because, like I said, he's been feeling so lost, and in this moment, it's like I finally feel like I found what was missing, and that plays out so beautifully. So like I'm gonna tie that in with the Darcy stuff, which her and Judy are on their little comedic adventure. Which that's also the thing of like she probably has like some of the most like interesting story, because her storylines can be so comedic, but then there's always like this undertone of like because it can get dark and real with like Darcy's story. We'll get to that in a second, but her and Judy like trying to backtrack their steps, like because my thought was like, do you think they actually deposited the money? Jumping ahead a little bit, we find out that even in their drunken situation, they didn't deposit the money. They just accidentally put it in a mailbox to be delivered. But it's like because they're under the impression like, oh my god, like Darcy might have left it with a truck driver, so. Because I forgot. Oh yeah, they looked through their photos, their drunk photos. Then they went to find the person with the boots. Turns out it was Jay. Jay said that they were trying to go to the town from Shawshank Redemption. Oh, I can't remember if that was before or after they were like they were hanging with Ellen. They went to see Ellen, who's just co-opting Asta's office. It's like I love that's what that character just does. She just pops up and it's like, what do you actually do, Ellen? Like, I know you work there, but it's like, we rarely see you actually working. You're always, like, screwing off or just, like, snatching someone else's stuff. I wonder that yogurt you're eating, is that even yours or is that Asta's? There's a very good chance that is hers. Am I confusing that with something else I was watching? I could have sworn I was watching something recently where someone was like, yo, my yogurt keeps disappearing. I'm like, didn't Asta reference her yogurt keep disappearing? The fact is that that's what Ellen was eating. I was like, I swear I was watching something recently where someone was like, oh, my yogurt's getting stolen. I swear it might have been Asta talking about that. So it probably was Ellen. It's just, yeah, you're just stealing people's office and their food. I don't think this is the first time like Ellen's done that either. I mean, definitely isn't. Just knowing the character. But anyway, they ended up like flashing a truck driver. So now they're like, oh, a truck, like I left my jacket in that truck driver's vehicle. And most likely the money was with that. So they try to file a report to Liv, but Liv and Mike pretty quickly come to the same conclusion. You got drunk and lost some money, didn't you? And it's like, yep. And they can't file that report because it's like it'd be filing a false report and that some serious charges against you. And because of that, Darcy's really brokenhearted afterwards because she ends up talking to Asta and she doesn't even hear everything that what Asta experienced this episode because she was so riddled with guilt that she's talking to Asta and she just lies to Asta like, yep, it was a bank error. And it's like, oh, okay. And Asta accepted it and it gutted Darcy. I thought it was purely guilt that Darcy was feeling, which you might think like, oh, that's such a small thing because later on Darcy's showing up with at Harry's and it's like, reminiscing about like, oh yeah, we basically have a tandem bike that we didn't know how to ride and we kept falling over and over again, but it was kind of a sweet, beautiful core memory. And, for her, she's like, that's why I kind of came to you because it's like talking to a plant, Harry. You're not sentimental at all. Which is ironic considering he kind of has become more sentimental as the series has progressed, but then there's also the element of, right, even more so now that he's become human. And Darcy has this like very dark conversation about like, yo, like what if the world would be better off without me? And you're just like, oh Jesus. And that's something that's always been an aspect of Darcy's character. Like it's always been like she's always had a complicated relationship with her self-esteem and self-worth, you know. And I legitimately do believe her parents play a part in it. Yes, like a lot of that is eternal. Like that's something that different people can struggle with for different reasons. But her parents definitely like played a role in her feeling that way. But like I said, it is an eternal thing. It does come from like her own self worth. But like I said, her parents definitely, those jerks did not help with that at all. But once again, I as someone who does struggle with self esteem issues and feel like self worth, still struggle with it. Like I really resonated with that. Like that conversation she was having with Harry. Like I felt that, and because her takeaway from the Asta thing wasn't about. I mean, I'm sure there are elements of guilt to it, but it was mainly like Asta usually can see through my BS, and she accepted me at my word. Which Harry's like, well, that's because Asta's very trusting. I lied to her saying I had a solution to the mantic thing. I did not. I'm a liar. Two deceivers. Hey, high five. But she's like, no. Like Asta's always been able to see through my BS, and it's like, what does that make me? When the fact is that Asta just kind of trusts me, which is kind of, because Darcy, once again, is struggling with her own feelings about everything. It is kind of like this backhanded thing because it's like, well, Asta trusts you wholeheartedly. So it's like, yeah, that she would, why would she immediately just doubt your best friend? But it's like, no, we're such good friends. We're such best friends. She should see through my bullshit. And it's like, there's a part of her that wishes she could have gotten caught because it's like, if she got caught, it alleviates at least some of that guilt. But it will also double down the guilt because it's like, it's proving like what you think about yourself and what you believe other people think of you too. It's like, you're the screw up, and so there's like so much like emotion rolled up into that storyline where you're just like, it's not contradictory. I don't know how to like put it into proper wording, but it's just like, it's just everything's hitting Darcy. It's all been snow piling and just building up, and it's just, like I said, it stems from her lack of feeling like she has any self-worth, and she kind of feels like the world would be better, everyone's lives would be better off without her. And Harry talks to her about Nanima, about togetherness, and it's like, I'm inside you. She's like, ew. He's like, you're inside me. She's like, ew, gross. It's like, we're like that sky you stare up at. He's like, you're a part of that. You do have self-worth. It's like, if it wasn't for you, Ben and Kate wouldn't have their baby. Like, you took care of their baby. You stepped up when you needed to. Like, you do have a role. You are important, in the grand scheme of things. You do have worth, And she's the one that made Harry realize, like, wait, what happened to you? And he was just like, yeah, I've changed. And, and she's like, yeah, because you grew a human soul, dummy. But that's the thing, like, if Harry is capable of change, so can Darcy. But that's always the thing, like, it's just for Darcy, sadly, she just never sticks through the changes. And so we see at the end of the episode, riddled with guilt, she ends up going to an AA meeting. So it's kind of like this bad thing led to hopefully a positive change in her life going forward. Because we end up finding out, like I said, the mailman like dropped off the money to Mike, and he gave it to Jay. So now comes the question of, what does Jay do? Because she knows, like, Darcy did this. So is she going to tell Asta the truth, or is she just going to, like, deliver it? Even though, like, they now, like, because Asta's under the impression it was like a banking error, but now it's like, what does she do with that information now? That becomes a big question. So, because Jay probably doesn't want to get Darcy in trouble, but, it's like, she doesn't want to probably cause issues between Darcy and Asta, but, does she talk to Darcy first? And what does this mean for Darcy, considering she took that first step because of this whole situation? It's like, it still doesn't change the fact you got so drunk that you don't remember what happened. Like that, it's still like everything kind of works out, but it's still the thing of, it doesn't change the fact is that the larger issue is there that isn't being contended with. So, yeah, I just thought that I wasn't expecting to, like, because I thought she was pacing around trying to figure out that she was going to talk to Asa and tell her the truth. I thought that's what it was. I didn't expect her to go to like an AA meeting, but that's great and it's good. So I'm curious to see where things kind of go on that front. On the other side of things, we have the Ben, Liv, Mike, and Kate, sorry, of it all, where they put up their board of evidence about everything, about Joseph, Demented, and then Liv points out, like, well, Peter was technically here looking for a completely different alien at the time. So it's like, oh, because Peter can see aliens. They're like, oh, good, let's get in contact with Peter. But sadly, Peter's off looking for his son right now, and Liv can't ever contact him for her own safety, so he has to be the one to reach out. So they have to wait for him to show up so that he could, help them find the Mantid. Which I also forgot to talk about earlier. While Asta and Harry were digging up that grave, they were caught on camera because Liv and her partner set up those cameras. So I guess who knows how often they check those. Not often enough, obviously. But because it's probably not live streamed anywhere. It's probably like saved on those cameras. So you probably have to go legitimately like get the SD cards. Not unless they're like automatically uploaded to like a cloud or drive or something, but it's probably like you probably have to go there and physically get the SD cards and go through the footage or like that. So whenever they ultimately decide to after a week or something, or maybe every couple days they go back and check it, maybe. Who knows? I'm curious, have they come to check it at all since setting up the cameras? So that's going to be interesting because the camera footage will probably catch them, for one, talking about the Mantid and also digging up the grave. And you're going to be like, wait, how do you guys know about the Mantid? Wait, you guys buried this thing. Wait, you know it's still out there. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting to see when they eventually get questioned about that. But either way, Kate and Ben are like, oh man, we gotta wait for Peter. But then like they're going through box stuff, and I was like, well, funny enough, you guys aren't remembering all the times Max was saying Harry was an alien back in season 1. But then they come across his drawings, they're like, wait, wasn't Max saying that? And they're like, okay, and they confront Max, and Max like, no, I was 2 years old, which I love. His father took a dig at him, being like, just because you drew like a 2-year-old doesn't mean you were 2 years old at the time. But then it's also like, oh yeah, you're into those stinky candles, which Ben's like, hey, on Etsy, 4.5 stars, you might want to check them out. But either way, Kate's like, okay, we'll listen to you, we'll accept it, just be honest with us. And in this moment, Max is honest. It is a white lie because he did tell you the truth. Harry isn't an alien. He is a human right now, so technically Max didn't lie. But it's kind of like, well, I don't think I need to tell you guys the truth, It's sad, like, when they are ready for his honesty, he doesn't tell them the truth. Because once again, just like everyone's on different pages because they don't know, like, oh, this is the time to be 100% honest. They took so long to get to Liv because they wanted to live alone because they didn't think Mike would be, down for the alien thing. But we, as the audience, know, well, Mike's all about aliens now, so it's just the timing, it just never works out. So they're not wrong, but Harry is the key piece to all of this that both Mike and Liv are missing, because if they knew about Harry, it'd answer a lot of questions. So everyone could be fully in the know instead of just like, well, Darcy and Asta and now Kayla being the ones in the know, and even Dan, when he's out, touring the road. But like, they're all the ones in the know, but it's like, here's these 4 other characters who should be in the know who aren't in the know. Oh, discount, like, once again, Max and Sahar as well, so. But that was like the last thread of hope for, funny using that term, thread of hope, considering like that's an element of like, once again, the soul being kind of like a thread kind of once you pull it in, in the universe and stuff like that, and just kind of like the very universal conversations that were had in this episode, and threads being pulled as like a metaphor. But yeah, like, because for Kate, she like had hope for the first time, which even Ben was like, should we really be like working on like the nursery, But it's like for Kate, it's like this is the first time in a long time she's had hope. But that hope was broken just immediately, because it's like, once again, like Max would have been like their go-to thing to be like, oh my god, yes, yes, yes. But now he lied about like not being able to see aliens, that Harry's an alien, and then they can't get in contact with Peter, and Kate just feeling pretty low. That little bit of hope, it can be that hope can be that dual side, both hope and despair. Like, it's a good thing to have hope, but when it's broken, like you can drown in that sorrow. And so Liv takes her to the fairy tree, and I thought that was really beautiful. I mean, God, Liv is, and because even Kate acknowledges that. She's like, you always seem to kind of have this positive energy about like things are going to be okay, which is so interesting because Harry's kind of got that feeling this episode too. So nice parallel. But Liv is like, yeah, I try to have that perspective. I try to be like that. So she's like, hey, I'm going to take you to this fairy tree. My Aunt Carol would take me here all the time. Like, I'd put a mint in here and kind of like, kind of wish for something good, And it's like, Kate's like, you believe in fairies and stuff like that? She's like, would you have ever thought you'd believe in aliens? And Kate's like, yeah, you have a point. And Kate's initially like reluctant, but Liv, it's like, yeah, it's nice. Even if it ends up being like, hey, a squirrel took it, okay, but it's like still having that belief is nice, and it makes you feel good. So she's like, I already left one, and most likely was already taken. So you do the same, and it was just kind of a nice feeling of like putting some positive energy out there, hoping that it all comes back around. And so ultimately, it does in the most a crazy way where Asta and Kayla drop off the baby. Because I guess, I don't know if like Harry already told them what his plan was, or maybe that was like technically after he had already talked to the council about his plan and they were able to do it now. But it's like, yeah, because we can comfortably return the baby to its parent. And it's like, it's really beautiful. So I'm curious to see what happens with Kate and Ben going forward now that they have their baby back. But there's still so many questions. Because the thing is going to be like, well, who dropped off the baby? What's going on here? There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, for them, So I'm curious to see where that goes after, but for now, they're just happy to have their baby back. It's a miracle, But yeah, Harry goes to the council and he's like, right, the Mantic, I need my alien energy to get it done and I'll bring it here. And he's like, but the thing I will offer you instead is me. I'm a human who grew a soul. So basically, if the Greys want one, they can have me. If I fail to bring the Mantic before you, the Greys can have me to experiment on. But the condition is they have to leave Ben and Kate's baby alone and never bother it again. And it's like, yeah, and the Greys are okay with that condition. And it's like, but how do we prove that he has a human soul? But the head of the council, Gary, it's like, well, the fact is he was willing to do something so selfless proves that he does have a soul. So it's like, yeah, he's going to get his alien energy back, but there has to be an executor who looks over it and makes that decision on when he's able to utilize it or get it. And lo and behold, who is it? Dear old Papa. I'm so curious to see who they're going to get to play the human form of his dad. They're going to voice the... they might not play the alien form, but they'll probably most likely voice the alien form. So I'm so curious to see who they get for that role. So that's going to be interesting. Harry having his dad around. He's probably talked about his dad in the past, but I don't feel like I remember as much. So it's definitely going to be interesting when he meets Asta and kind of seeing your human life. And, we saw how Heather's dad felt about, you being human. No dirty human's going to marry my daughter. So I'm curious to see how Harry's dad reacts to him being human and interacts with his human life. It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm also curious to see what form the Mantic's taking on now. So very, very interested to see where the next episode ultimately ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.